Hey, it's video time again, only this time because this is a quick and easy one and I'm lazy. Someone on Facebook asked Friday if anyone was going to go to the test and tune at the local drag strip, and I realized that I've never taken the R8 and it might be my last chance before winter. So I hopped in the car, knocked out the hour drive, and I was able to get 5 passes in a pretty quick amount of time. My car is bone stock other than the Remus exhaust, which is probably like 30-40 pounds lighter than stock, and Pilot Sport 4S tires. First run I screwed up pretty bad. I had everything right for launch control, but I wasn't on the brake enough, so when I tried to engage launch control, the car crept forward and it got disabled. Then when I did leave, it bogged instead of using launch control, and even worse, since launch control didn't engage, the car doesn't auto shift for you, and so I banged off the limiter in first gear. When you properly use launch control, even in manual mode, which is what you have to be in to enable it, the car auto shifts all the way up at 8,700 RPMs to give you the best possible acceleration without risk of hitting the limiter, because in manual mode the limiter is actually 8,500. Basically, I screwed that one up bad. Luckily, the car appeared to be an Impala SS, which I think is a supercharged 3.8 liter V6. I won anyway with an 11.9 at 124. Yay, I guess. The second run was against what appeared to be an RT Charger. I wear a Hans device for safety, so I don't have a lot of side-to-side head movement, and it was kind of hard to see what I was staged against. Also, I wasn't too concerned about what's next to me because I just wanted to get staged first to get an advantage of not needing to rush. This time, I nailed the launch and ran an 11.098 at 127.21. So freaking close to 10s, so close. 11.09 is seriously quick for a stock car, but it just doesn't sound as cool as running a time that starts with a 10.
I don't know if that was a 10, but it felt a lot better.
The next run was what I think was against a 392 Charger. They're not quite Hellcat, but they're pretty close. Keep in mind that it's 45 degrees out and the DA was like a negative 200 feet. Perfect for making a ton of power, but not for getting the power to the ground. I didn't have any issue though, obviously, because I have quattro all-wheel drive, but the rear drive muscle cars are definitely struggling for traction, except for a few of the ones on slicks, which you'll see in a minute. So I had an equally good launch, and before this run I let a few pounds of air out, hoping to try to find that less than a tenth of a second that I was shy of 10s, but yeah, I did worse. Ran a respectable 11.131 at 126.67, but obviously both the trap and the ET dropped for my last run. Next car was an F-body Camaro. Looked like basically a full dedicated drag build, and it was on slicks. He stomped me out of the hole and he traded me too. Dude chopped that tree down like a freaking lumberjack. I think had I traded him, it would have been a little closer, but his 60 foot was still 150 mils faster, so I'm sure he still would have won. Our ETs were identical though, which is pretty cool. The last car, I believe, is a 5th gen Camaro SS that was black. I could be wrong about these obviously, but I kind of went back and watched the footage and I think I caught little corners and glimpses of each car, and and I also kind of looked up average quarter mile times for them, and they seem to kind of line up, at least the trap speed. I know the ET is kind of dependent on your launch, but anyway. I ran an 11.220 at 126.74. My ET and trap speed basically decreased every round. Despite being 45 degrees out, the track wasn't busy, so I was able to go run right back around, and then I got 5 runs in just about 1 hour if you look at the time on the time slips. It's not exactly hot lapping, but you are just going flat out all the way up to nearly 140 each time, and I'm pretty sure the IATs are rising, especially because, you know, instead of cooling off, I'm just sitting idle in the staging lanes. So I would imagine that's probably what was up, because the temperature outside was actually dropping from the time I was there to the time I left. I know that with one of the VF engineering tunes, to unlock the 70 horsepower being held back by the software, I probably would have hit 10s, but probably not the mid 10s that the V10 Plus and Huracans hit, since those have shorter gearing from 3rd gear and up, on top of the extra 70 horsepower. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. It wasn't a super exciting video, but drag racing is always a good time, so I figured it was worth sharing. I fly out in the morning to Vegas bright and early, so I'm gonna go out to Exotics Racing and drive some more supercars on track for, I think, the 3rd year in a row, so hopefully I'll post about that Sunday. See ya.